Good evening, everybody. How are you getting on tonight? It's your boy DC, and this is Out of the Fog. We're a local matters bop that goes right across our great province with all sorts of cool cats. Bree Parsons coming through tonight. We got our girl Emma from Funky Junk, and Kerri, the author of Rock, Paper, Sex, Volumes 1 and 2. It's Out of the Fog, right back after this break. You're not going to want to miss this.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Yeah, a little bit of duct tape will fix her. She'll be flying again in no time. Hi, I'm Darren Hand, host of Pocket Universe. Each week we feature a variety of artists, filmmakers, writers, and more.
I see a monument or landmark, I want to capture that.
It allows you to make circular motions.
I'm always impressed with the amount of talent that's here on the rock. Join me for Pocket Universe on Rogers TV.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and what a wicked show we got on the go. Like I told you, the first up, the comedian premiere up in the province, making us all laugh and looking so beautiful doing it. Bree, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back.
I know, it's great to see you again.
It's been a while.
I want to take it back. Talk about, what first led you into comedy.
Oh, gosh.
I know it's wild, right? Because we see you on stage and it's so charismatic and hilarious and put together. But I'm sure it all started off with making a schoolmate laugh consistently and realizing that you had a talent for it. Tell me about it.
I think it's cheaper than therapy, I would say. Anything that you can make someone else laugh by. Mostly it's, just some experience that was embarrassing or something. You end up retelling the story a few times. And if you get the laugh, then it's like, okay, I should tell strangers this for money, you know?
From there to there, just like that, eh?
No. I mean, it's definitely a process. I took a writing course early on. And I was just like really trying to figure out what the actual process was behind making a joke, and that was it doesn't come naturally to me. As a Newfoundlander, I can tell stories, but the actual making of jokes, I gotta say, it took me a long time to get to where I am now.
I think a lot of things take a lot of practice, and I think a lot of people who are outside of the performing arts just assume you're going to get up and you're cracking the jokes, but the amount of work that goes into...
I dare you. I dare you to try.
Is that right? Exactly. Looks easy? Oh, come through. How much preparation and time of writing and thinking and trying and testing out jokes and all of the things, the craft of comedy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all consuming, I'm sure, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And I think one thing that takes over you a little bit is when are you performing, when are you not, right? I'll be out at a bar with my friends and all of a sudden someone will laugh at something I said and I'll be like, all right, I'll write that one down, yes.
Always research.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And now, there's different flavors of comedy.
For sure.
And what would you describe your flavor?
Oh, interesting. I try to walk a line, I tell mostly the truth, which is rare for a comedian, and just my own experiences, stuff with my own family. I feel like I would grow up in an interesting neighborhood with an interesting family, and I don't need for much more than that. So.
It all writes itself, doesn't it? How does your family feel if and when referenced in your live? And I've seen and I've heard and I've laughed. And how do they feel? I
remember the first time, I always said I wasn't going to write about my mom. She's the funniest woman I know, truly. And the first joke I wrote about her, I was like, can I tell this on stage? And I kind of gave her a little taste, and she's like, nobody's going to laugh. It's just not funny. You know what I mean? That's just a story about me. And I was like, how about you come to the show? And if they don't laugh, I'll never say it again, right? And so that was one of the first times she's seen me, and I mean, it worked. And she's like, I guess you're doing something right. Keep going. And now, they've kind of lifted the veil, and they've allowed me to say whatever I want.
Well, I love that, because I'm sure it can go the other way. It's you are no longer invited to dinner, girl.
Now, my partner, on the other hand, he vetoes some things. He's that one, no, this is not going on the stage.
So it's nice to have a group around you that's going to tell you the tea and inform, where the lines need to be. Do you always listen?
I try to. Sometimes it just feels too juicy not to say it, But I try to respect the boundaries of it. I mean, it's their lives too, but it's You can't argue with funny.
Exactly. I think that should be a bumper sticker. You can't argue with funny. I love that. And now listen, I'll say, so many venues and so many different events that you've organized and been a part of and starred in. What are some of your favorites?
I think the big ones that I get to do that I feel the most pressure around, and those are like the really exciting ones, is every now and then Just for Laughs comes here and lets us audition. And it just feels, first of all, so fantastic to have them come to Newfoundland and recognize that there's so much talent here and everything. So they all come, they fly in, and they watch us perform once every couple of years, and we just get to show them what we got, and that one feels amazing. But anytime I get to travel to go do the thing I love to do, that's my favorite.
For sure. Speaking of travel, talking about, what some people will never experience, I wonder, is it too soon to joke about the last couple of years? How do you play those more sensitive and potentially polarizing and real-time topics into your stand-up? What are the decisions that weigh in?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't do it. Like, comedy's my escape, and I feel like we've all been suffering enough in the last couple of years dealing with all this, and like, I don't want to hear about it, so I assume other people don't either. So I tend not to joke about it, to be honest. I just, try to avoid that and keep it silly.
Yeah, keep it silly. So listen, there's so many upcoming exciting things. Now that things are getting back more so to the tempo, spring fever, all of the summer vibes coming through, are you feeling it on the other end in terms of interest and outreach and upcoming gigs?
Yeah, I think like I've been doing comedy about 5 years, and for the last like 4 of it, I feel like I've just been doing like my dumb little things in dive bars, and and then all of a sudden a lot has kind of fallen in my lap in the last little while. I get to go to Winnipeg in May and do the Winnipeg Comedy Festival, which is just such an honor. I'm
That's
the first,
huge.
Yeah, I'm the first woman to go from Newfoundland.
Get out of here! Wow.
Yeah, so and it's big shoes to fill. Like it's before me, it's been Shama Jumder and Mark Critch and Matt Wright and all these like big names, and you know what? That's not a bad list to be on.
No, girl.
No.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean, geez, you must be proud.
It's my first TV appearance not on Out of the Fog. So.
Yeah, wow. I'm small potatoes now. Anyway, see ya. Come back to me sometime, you know?
I won't forget you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, right. I'll be in my trailer if you need me. But I do want to return to this, like the first woman from the province to take this stage, televised, it's a big deal, dude.
Yeah, I think the craziest part is being able to like do something I made, like I've spent the last few years just crafting this special, and I finally get to do something with it, it feels so crazy to have something I made be a finished product, Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
Creative courage is what Ling always talks about, and I apply that to all artists in every capacity. And we can all think and write and dream and draw, but to have the courage to put that out in front of people for their evaluation and never, under the umbrella of creativity, is that so front row than comedy?
Oh man, just don't read the reviews. That's all.
Exactly.
Put it out there and forget about it. That's what I'm gonna do.
I love it. Where can we see you, hear you, get at you?
Am I allowed to say other TV networks?
You can say everything you want.
Perfect.
Of course.
So the Winnipeg Comedy Festival will be on CBC Gem and CBC TV. As for the Just for Laughs stuff, there's 2 Just for Laughs auditions coming up next week. And those are happening at Bannerman Brewing. And hopefully one of us will make it to the festival in Montreal.
Listen, fingers
I know,
crossed.
so crazy.
Big things for the comedy scene in the province. Thank you so much for coming on. Will you come back again?
Yes, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I love it. Best of luck. Guys, Brie Parsons, she's your girl, and she's hilarious, and you want to know all about her, check her out on the interwebs. Big things coming for her. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back.
It all started when I racked up some serious debt. Interest payments were going up, creditors were calling. Janes and Noseworthy came up with a plan. Knowing that the phone was going to stop ringing and that I was not in this alone was a huge relief. Bankruptcy or a consumer proposal or whatever help you get is not the end. It's just the beginning. A chance to start again with knowledge and support and people in your corner. Are you ready? Get out of debt. It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnoseworthy.ca.
We've just been through a difficult time. For many, it's been a struggle, but it has also brought us together, and we can't stop now. It's time to step up and say, this is my community. This, right here, is what matters. It's time to help your neighbors who need it most, like veterans, seniors, and youth. It's time to rebuild. When you join the Legion, you directly support essential programs and initiatives right in your community.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and let me tell you, I love when I meet people and you meet them, you feel like you've known them 1,000 years, and then you find out that they're business owners, and then you find out they're nominated for awards, and then you find out this and that. And so I have a friend named Emma. I'm gonna ask you, what is the story of Funky Junk?
It all actually started with my mom, Joanne. So she is my co-owner, and we don't fight, believe it or not. Nobody believes us. But she started upcycling and painting furniture in our garage, and I wanted nothing to do with it.
Get out of here.
And then I hated my job, and I said, you know what, let's try this. And we started retailing a paint line. So then we kind of graduated into not only painting our own furniture, but then teaching other people how to do it as well.
So much information to unpack here. The first is the concept of upcycling.
Yeah.
Because you introduced me to that, and I never had heard that before, but I work in a lot of client arenas where sustainability and all of these green practices are so important, and I never heard that. So tell us at home what that's all about.
So upcycling is taking anything and either like making it into something else to give it a whole different use, or even just like painting your furniture and not throwing it away, just kind of giving it a makeover. Because I mean, if you have something that's solid and it's serving its purpose and the color's just not working for you, paint it, it's easy.
It's funny how we've all become very disposable.
Yes.
I mean, it used to be like you'd put something on layaway for 6 months just to have it, and you'd be holding on to it forevermore. But I think a lot of us have let go of that. Why?
I don't know. It seems just to kind of be something across the board for everything.
I know.
You know, we kind of see something and we want it. And like with painting and like upcycling your furniture, you can still do that in a very short amount of time. You know, dumpster diving's also fun.
Yeah, listen, now we'll talk, because when you walk into the store, it's so eclectic.
Yes.
There's all sorts of beautiful pieces and different sort of things that you sell that are from local makers.
Yeah.
But then you have all these beautiful pieces that look like they've been upcycled.
Yeah.
How do you go about filling your store?
So if it's not something that we can make, we find somebody local who can. And we like to have lots of locally made items and local art featured as well. But side of the road, finding things on like Marketplace and things like that, things that people no longer want, we like to kind of put it in a new light and make sure that it doesn't go in the landfill, because it doesn't have to.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's changed my thinking as well.
For sure.
I'm about to renovate my house, and I'm already thinking like, well, do I have to throw it all away, or can I just give some of these pieces new life?
Exactly, and it's so easy.
I know. Well, talk about the different ways we can engage with Funky Junk. You have classes and training and all sorts of fun things. Tell me everything.
So we do classes based on our products. So we sell Country Chic paint. It's our favorite mineral paint line.
Love it.
So we get people all the time. Like, you can bring something in and we'll coach you through it. In about 4 hours, you'll leave with a finished piece. We do different projects like sign making. And like, if we can't teach it, we find somebody who does. So we've had outside instructors come in and teach everything from embroidery to photography. And we're also paint night event owners. So we do different like canvas painting events as well.
That's super fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I see, you know, some folks are bringing like the wine and paint, and that's a whole cultural thing that's happening so much. Everyone is loving the communal painting, art creating experience, which is so well suited to the work that you both do.
It's fun, and like wine pairs good with things other than cheese.
It's
you
true,
know?
imagine. Like
paint
art.
goes well with
it. What's mineral paint? What does that mean?
So Country Chic is a mineral base paint. So what that means is no priming or sanding in most cases. It's a really porous product. So I mean, if you have something that's super shiny, it doesn't even have to be wood. You do minimal prep work, and thick pigment, so better coverage with less coats.
Okay, well, you know all the things, don't you?
Yes, I've been doing this a while.
Yeah, I know, I can tell. Talk about award nomination energies and how it feels to be recognized by your community.
Not in a million years did I ever think that I would be sitting on this set with you talking about these kinds of things. And I mean, I always thought Funky Junk was a cool thing, but to actually get acknowledgement for the work that we do is insane, incredibly humbling, and motivating to kind of get out and do more. Because I mean, we've gotten recognition for like community fundraising efforts and you know, awards of distinction. Like that's insane.
Insane.
It is.
It makes you feel so good, and it gives you the sort of creative courage to keep going, because the entrepreneurial adventure, especially in the last couple of years, has definitely been challenging. Would you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, adapting has become a daily mantra.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Your gram cracks me up. You must get so much positive feedback from people for how you engage on social media.
We do. Actually, I had a lady this morning before I got ready to come here, and as soon as she came in, she's like, I feel like I know you. And I was like, well, that's the goal, hello. And she's like, it's from Facebook. I know you from Facebook, and I watch you on Instagram. And like, that's really cool. And that's the whole point, is to get rid of any kind of intimidation with coming into like a small store.
True.
Because I mean, sometimes that can be awkward in a small space with a total stranger you've never met before.
Right.
So I like to kind of have a base already built. So if you follow us online, we're already friends.
Yeah, well, I feel like you, if this was like a TV show, I would cast you in the role of best friend. Like, you're so funny. Had you had any sort of theatrical exposure leading up to this venture? Because you're just so charismatically natural in and outside of the shop. Has people told you that before?
They have, and like my experience doing any kind of public speaking was just that, public speaking.
Wild.
I used to like write speeches and poems and things like that, but never, I don't think I was ever in a play outside of like elementary school.
Wow, now every day you're putting on a show.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes, but you know what, it's just
circle.
kind of going with it, you know, and just being as real as possible.
What's next for Funky Junk?
More classes, especially with like the restrictions and stuff being lifted and stuff now. It's definitely a bonus being able to welcome people back into in-person events. We're still doing virtual. We have a full online community, so we have our own private Facebook group. You subscribe for the month. And so we host events online all the time too.
That's wicked.
It's fun and like really engaging, and we have a really great group of people, but more in person, that's what I'm missing.
Yeah.
You know, I have so much fun with that, so.
Well, tell us where your store is and where we can get at you in the old digital channels that be.
Awesome. So we are 54 Conception Bay Highway. So that's the strip mall right next to Berg's Ice Cream and Manuals is the easiest way to find us.
Absolutely.
And on Instagram, it's funkyjunk_NL, and Facebook at funkyjunkhome. And we do have a website. It's funkyjunknl.ca.
Oh my God, we're going to find you on all the things.
Yes, it's not hard to find me.
No, I know. Say hi to Joanne for us, would you?
I definitely will.
Emma, thank you so much for coming on. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
I love
Anytime.
it. I can't wait. Guys, Funky Junk, check it out. Amazing. And the noble motive beyond any of the amazing products and services that they sell is the idea of keeping things you love a little longer, keeping them out of the landfill, giving them new life. That's what it's all about. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It's Out of the Fog, and am I ever excited for this hang here tonight. Kerri Cull, how are you doing?
Hi, Donnie. How are you?
Well, you know, I'm right here where you left me, right? We were talking about life in COVID and how, you know, sometimes, you know, people who love each other just don't end up getting that cue time in because life does what it does.
That's right.
Rock, Paper, Sex was an explosive, incredible diary of content around our oldest industry, as the book says. Tell us everything.
So I published Rock, Paper, Sex Volume 1 in the fall of 2017. I started doing the research for it in 2014. So when it came out in 2017, as you are aware, it was very well received. And one of the effects, one of the things that stuck out to me the most was that people began to talk about these big complex topics. Like the book, for anyone that doesn't know, the book is about sex work and human trafficking. Those are the big topics. And, you know, people started to talk about these big, dark, you know, controversial, provocative topics in very casual ways, in very casual forms, like over coffee or book clubs or out to dinner, not just, you know, within the confines of their own home with, you know, a trusted partner. So I thought that was really interesting and very powerful, that a subject matter like that I think we really need to understand more, could take on a life of its own because of a book. And so when I saw that, I decided to think about writing a second book. And I wanted to go about the second book a little bit differently. So I covered a lot of different stories in the first book, but I didn't cover a lot of different perspectives. So I wanted to, I think to do the topic justice, I had to revisit that. And together, both books are one good project, I think. But the second book, it hits a little bit differently. It's a little bit darker. There are different perspectives in the second book. But yeah, so I thought in order to do the topic justice, I needed to write a second one. So that, I started writing the second one in 2018, and I finished it during COVID. sometime, I don't know. And it's all a blur. And then it just came out last fall. So I've been kind of immersed in this topic since 2014 to about now.
And what inspired your delving into a then unknown, undiscussed arena that was so salacious and provocative, as you say, and so curious, but not ever discussed? What brought you?
Well, first of all, there was nothing like it done in Newfoundland and Labrador before, outside of academic work, which is not necessarily always accessible to the general population and to the public.
On a bunch of levels.
Right. So I really thought it was important to dive into this topic from that perspective. I really wanted to highlight the different perspectives that were out there and highlight the voices of experience. I think when we, and when I say we, I mean the government and, people who are part of regulatory bodies, when we're writing laws and writing legislation for when it comes to sex work and human trafficking, we really need to be taking into consideration the voices of experience, because they are the people affected by these laws. And because of the stigma associated with these topics, these stories and these experiences are often not available. So that was one of the other reasons.
Your volunteerism as well, I'm sure, definitely informed the appetite for how much of, I dare to say subculture, but just a percentage of the population engaged in sex work, and it's so mysterious, and the work you've done must have gone on to enlighten and educate and inform so much. What's the feedback that you've been getting?
The feedback has been all over the place.
Wow.
I have to say, though, people are generally very respectful when they're talking about the book. And I always, have said, criticize the way I approach the project, criticize how I did the writing, criticize whatever you want about the project. Do not criticize the stories, because they are real people's lives and these are real participants. Some of these people I'm friends with, and I'm really protective of that, especially when these individuals have trusted me with their stories, and oftentimes a lot of these individuals have never shared their story with anyone. So I am very protective of that. But generally, people have been very respectful and are looking at it like a learning experience, because one of the things the book has done that I noticed, and two of the books have done that I noticed, is that even though they're about sex work and human trafficking, those are the big topics, there's all these subtopics within these topics, like sexism and body politics and stigma and whorephobia and feminism and harassment and sexual assault and motherhood and all these things that now I'm seeing around me are being more normalized. And I think that is so powerful when it comes to the way we engage with each other and the way we understand each other.
Wow, so powerful. As a writer, research is part of the game. How did you go about putting your intention out into the world, and how did you go about getting in front of these amazing, brave individuals?
Right. So for the first book, it was a lot harder. I made a lot of mistakes with the first book in regards to how I approached the project, not just getting the interviews, but how I did the writing process of it. But for the first book, I put up old school paper posters in strip clubs, which was really fascinating. I would get texts and calls, which was great, which would lead to some interviews. I put up an ad. I put up multiple ads on NL Adult, saying my name's Kerri, I'm writing a book. I always get some hits off that. People would then usually interview me. They would want to make sure that they could trust me. That was a huge component. I got asked if I was a cop a couple times. No, obviously no. I got asked if I was a journalist. And while I'm very interested in, the legal frameworks around these topics, I'm not a part of law enforcement. I'm interested in the journalistic components of this project. I'm not a journalist, and I'm not affiliated with any big media body. So those things helped me gain the trust of people. And also, with the writing of the stories, it was a very collaborative process. So it wasn't a solitary act like writing is for a lot of people for other projects. It was very collaborative. And by that I mean, I gave the participants power to approve their stories. So I would interview them, I would transcribe it, and then I would write the story and we'd go back and forth until it got to a point where they felt that their story was being told in a way that they were comfortable with. Of course. So because they had that approval, that power of approval, I think that really served me well, and especially with the second book, because word of mouth got around about how it went. I had made friends with people at that point that were in both books, and my volunteer work helped me build relationships, and it was just way easier second time around.
Kerri, in our final moment of throw, where can folks get their hands on Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Rock, Paper, Sex?
Well, breakwaterbooks.com or Breakwater on Stamps Lane if you want to support local. It's in some local shops around as well. It's also available at Chapters and Amazon, I'm pretty sure, too.
That's amazing. Will you come back and talk to us when Volume 3 comes out, or are you saying peace to that project and moving on to your next great work?
I think I'm saying peace out to that project for a myriad of reasons.
Sure.
But I really felt compelled to do the second volume, but I don't think there will be a third volume. But I will still be interested and immersed in this work in some way.
I think that's amazing. I think the industry is lucky to have you to tell stories on behalf of people who may not have the ability to tell their own.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you. Guys, this is Out of the Fog. I'll be right back after this break to wrap it up. Stay tuned. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's episode of Out of the Fog. Thank you, Kerri Cull, the incredible work you've been doing on this amazing topic that is unfolding. Very interesting. Check it out at Breakwater Books, your source for the best books in the province. And I want to also thank Emma from Funky Junk, upcycling, making all things old, new, and beautiful again. That's what they do. Check them out online. And then, of course, Brie Parsons. She is the comedian tour de force. Big things coming for our girl. We can't wait. And check out all these amazing people making the show happen here every day here at Rogers Out of the Fog. Thank you to the volunteers and the staff. We'll see you next time.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
This is Rogers TV.
Yeah, a little bit of duct tape will fix her. She'll be flying again in no time. Hi, I'm Darren Hand, host of Pocket Universe. Each week we feature a variety of artists, filmmakers, writers, and more.
I see a monument or landmark, I want to capture that.
It allows you to make circular motions.
I'm always impressed with the amount of talent that's here on the Rock. Join me for Pocket Universe on Rogers TV.
Leonard Thompson, 13 years old, diabetes mellitus, 65 pounds.
Starve the child to let them live. The treatment's as cruel as the disease. It's a death sentence.
Dr. Banting.
This could be it.